Let's continue our study of LOA, the law of attraction. And to get the most out of our study, I want to make an offering to you. Here's the book that I'm teaching from, and it's a book that I have written, put together, and compiled, and it's entitled 31 Days to Attract What You Want, the Law of Attraction Basics. And the book actually takes you through 31 days of mini lessons, and then it takes you through 31 affirmations, and there's a little diary place there for you to go and put your notes. And we do have it available in ebook form if you go to our website, which is Atlanta, like the city, newthought.com. But today, let's continue our study. And in our last teaching, we talked about what is the law of attraction. And we said that the law of attraction is based on a biblical proverb. Solomon said it. By the way, Solomon was the wisest man to ever live according to biblical history. And he said, as a man thinks in his heart, so is he. And much later, a man came along by the name of James Allen, who's one of the greatest psychologists in the history of the world. And he wrote a book, As a Man Thinketh. You might look that up in classical theology. And I mean, this guy was not some fly-by-night guy. He was a professor at major Ivy League university, one of our major Ivy League universities. And he taught that. And Earl Nightingale came along much later and taught. Earl Nightingale, by the way, was the guy that established a company called Nightingale Conant, which came up with a lot of the motivational, inspirational, and metaphysical materials. And he said, you become what you think about. So there's a theme of this throughout history. Well, it is simply called by many the law of attraction. It means what you think about, you bring about. Thoughts are things. So in our last teaching, we covered that. Today, let's talk about manifesting your desires. Now, this is good stuff. I want you to stay tuned, listen in, and dig in. And I'm going to read a little bit from the book and expound on it. In order to manifest positive experiences in our lives, we must change our thoughts, because thoughts are fleeting and intangible. That means that a thought will come to you, and if you don't hold of that thought will leave you and flee you. This is why writing things down is a very important practice, because writing crystallizes thought. Now, I know one can choose to hold on to a thought, but remember, thoughts can be fleeing. They can be, I don't want to say, because they are real, but they are intangible. Does that make sense? And tangibility means to be able to touch. Like this book is tangible. I can touch it. I can feel it. I am tangible. I can touch me. I can feel me. You are tangible. Tangibility means perceptive to the senses. But so often a thought will come into your mind and flee out of your mind. Now we're going to talk a little bit about the subconscious mind in the future. But what we're saying is that thoughts cannot be held, well, like a book. Like this book. I'm holding this book, and you can obviously see it if you're viewing me by video, or some other material or physical thing. One effective way to change our thoughts is to change the habit of our response to the world. And over time, our response to situations, circumstances, conditions, and personalities become habitual or automatic. Now, automatic basically means subconscious in the realm of thought. In fact, another word that we can use for subconscious is automatic. The subconscious mind could be called the automatic mind. We have a conscious mind, this mind. We think through this mind. And of course, we refer to it in our head because that's where our brains reside. Do you have brains? Yeah, I got brains. How do you know? Have you ever seen your brains? Just a little humor, very little. But you have a conscious thought. I need to work out. All right. You go to the gym and you act on that thought. and you exercise, and that thought starts to go into your subconscious mind. Working out is good, and then working out now starts to become a habit. But the inertia you must break through is having the first thought and acting on that thought. We are trained by doing things habitually. You sow a habit, you eventually reap a destiny. Because why? Things become automatic. We said habitual and automatic responses such as word, thought, image, thought, feeling, thought, or feelings, thought, can be changed if there's a buffer zone uh, between the event and our reaction. And a buffer zone can be a breath or a word or an image in our minds. Sometimes you have a thought, and maybe it's not a good thought. So you've got this little buffer zone that you can take a breath, think, and maybe contradict that thought, which is not a good thought, with a positive thought. You might look in the mirror and say, I am getting so old. Well, before you process that and let it get into your subconscious and become automatic, you can say, no, my youth is being renewed. I am young, I am handsome, I am vibrant, or pretty, ladies. So what you think about and you allow to enter your subconscious, you bring about. It becomes habit. And that's the law of attraction. But notice it all starts with thought. Deliberate thought, changing exercise, deliberate thought changing exercises can only come through some form of meditation. And let's talk a little bit about meditation, because meditation is very important to changing thoughts. Now, a lot of people have gotten into meditation today. It's kind of like the new cool. But when I talk to some people about meditation, and I want to be kind here, but it's almost like they get into this spookiness of all these different forms of meditation. And it's how you curl your legs. It's how you tweet when you're meditating. It's how you look up or look down or whatever. When really meditation simply means to ponder and to roll something over and over in your mind. You roll it over and over and over. And in the Hebrew, meditate means comes from a word that means to chew the cud. Chew the cud. Now, if you're not from the country, you may not know what I'm talking about, but it's like a cow that's chewing on something. You ever seen the cows that's chewing on something, and after a while, all that stuff starts coming out? Well, that cow is meditating on that thing. So meditate, you could simply say, means to chew on something. Does that make sense? So again, whatever form of meditation you use, the bottom line is you are thinking on something. You are meditating on something. Even scripture says, think on things that are good. So we're to meditate on things that are good. Meditation is a sure tool to quiet our thoughts and to slow down and slow us down to eventually transform our habit and our response. Meditation is the master key to manifesting our desires. That's what I wanted to get to. Meditation is the master key to manifesting your desires, because when you meditate, you start to realize, you start to feel, you start to train your subconscious mind. And what you think about, now you start to manifest. What you think about, now you start to bring about. The power of thinking has been so little understood. You can manifest what you desire. We said in the book here, when you think thought with emotion, you have accessed the power of the universe. Thank you so much for studying with us today. We're teaching from our book, The Law of Attraction Basics, 31 Days to Attract What You Want. Visit us on the World Wide Web at atlantanewthought.com for more information. And by the way, if you are interested in attending one of our live meetings, we want you to go to our Meetup profile on the internet. If you simply go to Meetup and put in Atlanta Law of Attraction, or Meetup and put in Bernard Small's Law of Attraction, Don't put BS in there now. BS. We are into no BS here. Yeah, we are into BS, belief systems. Just having a little fun. So you get a little crazy sometimes, Bernard. Well, let's have a little fun with this thing. Yeah. A merry heart does good like a medicine, as the old proverb says. So when you're in the area, if you're in the Atlanta area, and we have meetups in other parts of the country, simply Google and put in meetup, Bernard Small's Law of Attraction, and find where we are. And if we have a meetup near you, we encourage you to RSVP and to come visit us, because we are on a mission to create, how do I say it, a more positive world. We're on a mission to eradicate poverty consciousness and negativity from the minds of people. And that's one reason we started this classroom forum, because we want to teach. And a big part of it is attending our meetings. So we encourage you to come to a meeting if you're in the area. Visit us on the World Wide Web at atlantanewthought.com. And we operate based on free will donations. We do not charge for our meetings, but we accept free will donations, nor do we charge for our classroom. But we believe that if people are moved, they will give. So if you're motivated to give, we have three levels we kind of approach. And first of all, some people make the success covenant their level. That means they commit to this source as a source of feeding, because in a way, we are kind of like church. For those who don't do church, a lot of people feed on this. People come to me all the time and say, you are my church, when they come to our meetings. And I understand where they're coming from. So supporting by that means, as a spiritual source that's feeding you, even the tithe is appropriate, which is tithing. Now, that's the highest level of commitment to an organization, when you start tithing 1/10 of your income. But we also have students. And a student is simply a disciple, or one who follows the teaching. If you're a student, we encourage you to support us just by making donations, or whatever level you want to. Freely you have received, freely give, and we freely receive. And we're not putting any pressure on you. But then we have seekers. And a seeker is a person that's just inquiring. When you are in the inquiring stage and just seeking, we put no pressure on you whatsoever. Freely receive and freely grow. And what I found is people will grow from being seekers to being students to eventually being success covenant people. And whatever you believe about scripture, the master teacher talks about 30, 60, 100-fold, 3 levels of development there. So wherever you are, we encourage you to support, and let's reach the world with the law of attraction. Birds of a feather, they do flock together, and may the great I Am expand your life until your destiny is fulfilled. Go to that website now. It's atlantanewthought.com. Go to the products page, get your book so you can follow along with us, get your ebook, and then if led and inspired, go to the donation button and make your generous donation today. We love you. Stay in there. It's too soon to quit.